Let me introduce Aichi Prefecture's startup ecosystem in Japan. Mr. Shibayama, please.
I'm Masaki Shibayama, Executive Director, Startup of Aichi Prefecture Government. Thank you for joining the South by Southwest section by Aichi Prefecture. Aichi Prefecture is located at the geographical center of Japan. Aichi Prefecture is known for manufacturing industries, including the automotive, aerospace, and robotic industries. Aichi Prefecture is trying to create a global startup ecosystem to strengthen existing industries and to create new industries through startups. More than 20 programs for startup and innovation have been already implemented. From those efforts, last September, Aichi Prefecture was decided as a global startup city by the Japanese government. In 2024, we will start operation of Station AI, which is going to be one of the world's largest startup incubation facility. Numerous startups can reside in the facility, and we expect overseas startup support organization and big corporations will establish their branches in Station AI. We will also utilize the space to conduct various startup support programs and to build up global startup community. This January, we opened Press Station AI in WeWork Nagoya to start activity of Station AI without for the completion of the building. In order to create a global startup ecosystem, Aichi Prefecture is collaborating with overseas global partners. The representative partners are University of Texas at Austin and the National University of Singapore. In this session, Aichi Prefecture, the University of Texas at Austin and the National University Singapore will discuss the formation of global startup ecosystem. Thank you.
Welcome everyone to this A2 program panel discussion titled Impact of Regional Governments and Academia-Based Incubators in Creating World-Class Startup Ecosystems. I am Kiyono Yagami, an entrepreneur, activist, and community leader based in Aichi Prefecture, Japan. I am alumni of MBA, University of Texas at Austin, and now CEO of Manabiyama Inc., which is an incubator mainly for women entrepreneurs. We are also operating a digital talent marketplace and community that connects professionally accomplished women with various types of employers. I am delighted to moderate this distinguished panel. Currently, Aichi Prefecture is actively implementing programs in collaborations with overseas academic incubators. Today, we invited UTA and NUS. We are very excited to hear their perspectives. Before moving on to the main part, we would like to have a short introduction from all panelists. Mr. Mori is first, please.
Hello, I'm Akihiro Mori from Aichi Prefecture Government. I'm in charge of both projects under collaboration with UTA and NUS. I joined Aichi Prefecture about 10 years ago, and in my first career, I technically supported SMEs, especially in food industry. I helped to solve the problems in manufacturing site of SMEs. In my previous post, I supported aerospace industries in our region. Aichi Prefecture boasts aerospace industry as well as automotive industry. I especially in charge of special zone designated by national government and support for SME's acquisition of certificate and support for participation for exhibition. Today, I really appreciate Dr. Pog from UTA and Mr. Chanson from NUS to join this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mori, Mr. Mori. So next, Dr. Pog, please.
Hi, I would like to first thank all the organizers for the opportunity to participate in this very important panel. It's great to see our alumna as well, Ms. Yagami, to be able to basically moderate this panel. I'd like to really welcome my colleagues from Japan and Singapore to my city, Austin, Texas, for South by Southwest. My role at the IC² Institute is supporting companies and economic development leaders around our state, nation, and world build economies that are inclusive and that also engage prosperity for all. This is a great vision, but it's always very challenging to do. Before joining IC², I've been a serial entrepreneur in the biotechnology area, developing therapeutic products and vaccines. We have had projects at IC² that have linked over 20 different countries, training technology transfer, incubator, and as well as accelerator leaders. It's exciting to be a part of this group.
Thank you, Dr. Pog. Mr. Chen-san, please.
Hello, many thanks for the invitation. It's great to be here. My name is Chen San. I head the incubation program at NUS Enterprise. NUS Enterprise is the entrepreneurship arm of the National University of Singapore. We support startups through the entrepreneurship journey. I'm also the program director at Blocks Anyone. Blocks Anyone is an initiative by NUS Enterprise. It was started in 2011 in collaboration with the government to help Singapore startup ecosystem. Today we are in US, China, Vietnam, and most recently in Japan.
Thank you all. So now, Mr. Mori, could you share the efforts that Aichi Prefecture has taken to promote startup ecosystem as a regional government? In additional, can you also share the reason for selecting UTA and NUS as ecosystem building partners?
Thank you, question. We are now preparing for establishing startup incubation facility Station AI. It will start operation from 2024. Its size is about 30,000 square meters, and it will be one of the world's largest startup incubation facility. Various programs will be conducted in the Station AI, and it will help various stages of startups from seed to middle. In those projects, we put importance on collaboration with overseas partners. Aichi Prefecture's governor himself visited world's leading startup ecosystem and suggest collaboration with us, and UTA and NUS are two of them.
Thank you. Yeah, there are many interesting reasons. Okay, so please explain what triggers were for creating a startup ecosystem in Austin and Singapore. Mr. Pog, how about Austin?
Sure, Austin was always a great place if you wanted to engage with fun, music, and creativity, but it was not a center place for business for many, many decades. George Kosmetsky set down a vision for Austin in 1971, saying it could be a place where technology and innovation could drive new business growth. And that was a pretty bold vision because only Silicon Valley had actually started such an audacious strategy. But it took George a number of years to realize this. It first started with him founding the IC² Institute as a place to research and act locally and beyond to find out how innovation could create a reproducible ecosystem model. Then he had to wait even further from that founding in 1977 to 1983, when three interesting events happened. First, Michael Dell started his company, and George helped being his first mentor. Second, Moot Corp was born as a way for business students to build business plans around innovative ideas, not just Fortune 500 ideas. This led to the first business plan competition in the world, really the progenitor of all the pitch competitions that go on. The third was Austin winning the Microelectronics and Computer Technology Corporation bid to come. And this brought private companies around technology into Austin, Texas. These three things of entrepreneurship, industrial engagement, and the university involvement really powered the Austin ecosystem. This finally was complemented with the most interesting piece, which was how to keep students local. And they realized that by forming a new type of incubator, a networked incubator, where peers, CEOs, mentors from the community, and students from the university all participated to help startups grow locally, would draw in innovators, keep students local, and expand opportunities. And we've seen this in Austin. It started with silicon chips, it moved into software, to gaming, to biotechnology, and now we've added all these pieces with circular economy and green technology. Austin's become a very exciting startup place because all of the community is in this fully.
Wow, there are many, many continuous great triggers. How about Singapore, Mr. Chen-san?
Yeah, I think that's a great history. Certainly a lot of things that we can learn from Austin as well. For us, it was very much an accidental story. Literally, we call it the accidental story. Back in 2011 and before, the Singapore startup ecosystem was actually fairly nascent, fairly small. As a university, we were trying to produce startups, inspiring our students to become entrepreneurs. But we noticed that was quite challenging for our startups because there wasn't a domestic ecosystem to support them. So many of them gave up, went back to the workforce. Others went overseas to find support. So that was when we thought, why not let's do an experiment to see if by creating a startup hub, can we actually help catalyze Singapore startup ecosystem? So we partnered with the government at the time, the Media Development Authority of Singapore. And as we were looking for a place, we stumbled across this old factory called Block 71. Initially, it was meant to be demolished. So we pitched to the landlord on this project. And that was literally the birth of Block 71. To our pleasant surprise, very quickly, we managed to pull the community together into what we call a melting pot, bringing together the startups, investors, corporates, talents, technology, and so on and so forth. Today, Block 71 is the largest consolidation of tech startup community in Singapore. And in one time, we have about 800 to 1,000 startups here. There's about 50 VCs, incubator, accelerators, all within the community. And as mentioned earlier, in 2015, we also expanded this internationally. So today we are in US, China, Indonesia, Vietnam, and most recently in Japan, Nagoya.
Thank you. NUS great effort led to the great present. So, Mr. Mori, how about the situation of Aichi Prefecture? Mute of the mute.
I'm sorry. At first, economy of Japan itself have not been growing over 20 years. And Aichi Prefecture is the region to produce automobiles. And now big change called case or mass is happening. President of Toyota Motor Corporation say, now is the time of the once in a century revolution. But we want to change the crisis into the chance to grow more. We think important player is startups. We expect startups to support existing industries and to create new industries in our region.
Thank you. So please explain what are unique points of Austin NUS startup ecosystems. How about Austin, Dr. Paul?
Sure. You know, in Austin, I think we have energy, we have inclusivity, and we have opportunity. In Austin, we scale tacos and technology. You'll find great startups in the food and beverage space, all the way to biotechnology and creative computer science, new industries. Austin is a creative place which is just buzzing with energy, with music, with creative people who want to be outside and engaged. This draws in people to want to be a part of this place. The energy of Austin draws this in. Austin is very inclusive, really reaching out to its Black, Hispanic, Asian, young, LGBTQ communities to say, start companies here, be a part of change here. And this really makes the inclusivity of opportunities grow for people, because now no matter who you are and where you are, you can have opportunity to meet with really experienced entrepreneurs, mentors for just a coffee or a beer. This gives you a chance to learn what you need, get the connections you need, and you can do that either at a place or get out on the trail, get in the outdoors and be a place where thousands of people are in downtown in a native outdoors environment. This is really part of the draw, because the energy spills over into free time, and the free time spills back into creativity around startups and expressing that creativity in business opportunities.
Thank you. How about Singapore, Mr. Chen-san?
Yeah, I remember we discussed this. The beer definitely is important, but one of the one of the unique characteristics of our ecosystem is that what we're hoping to do is really to create a global community, and this really came because of our own limitation. Right? As you know, Singapore is a small country, is a small market. I would say 90% of our startups from early stage need to look beyond Singapore at a very young age. So back then, what we wanted to do was to accelerate this process by creating landing pads around the world. So we went to popular destinations like US, China, Southeast Asia. But then we realized that the reverse was also happening, or there was cross-pollination, right? People from the opposite sides were trying to come to other parts of the market, from US, coming to Southeast Asia, from China, going into Japan, and so on and so forth. So that was when we realized this is actually a very powerful community. That means today, when any startup joins any of our Blocks Anyone, they have access to a global resource. You can pitch to a mentor from Japan. You can speak to investor from US. You can look for a market in Southeast Asia. So the startup is no longer constrained by its geographical boundary. So that is essentially what we hope to build at Blocks Anyone. And yeah, we think this will be the unique characteristic of our ecosystem.
Thank you. How about Aichi Prefecture's unique points, Mr. Mori?
Frankly speaking, so far, startup ecosystem in Aichi have not been developed as world's leading region, but we have manufacturing industry represented by automotive industry and human resources working there. From the background, some startups have deep ties with manufacturing industries. For example, UMAP, which were participating startups for A2 program in 2019, they developed material which can retain both thermal conductivity and insulation property. The material will be used for electronic component. In addition, ScanDrive, which is very famous startup in our region, they developed flying cars. The founder of SkyDrive was once belonged to Toyota Motor Corporation.
Thank you all. Next question also, I'd like to ask all panelists, what role does the university play in fostering the ecosystem? How about in Austin, Dr. Paul?
Sure. You know, the University of Texas at Austin is one of just several universities in this region. One of the key factors is that Austin is an attractive place to live. So young talent wants to come here, and that draws in opportunities for innovation, but also companies want access to that talent. So I got to give credit to all these universities in Central Texas really providing that. The second thing is I think UT Austin actually is a very innovative university. It's always in one of the top 5 universities in terms of patents filed, issued in the United States. Student and graduate startups, it's in the top 10. We've birthed 8 Nobel Prize winners, launching everything from bone marrow transplantation, lithium-ion batteries, to CAR T cancer therapy. So lots of innovation happens here, and all this drives out through often startups or academic environments. Our students now are very involved with what happens with startups. They do co-ops, they do internships. You'll hear a lot of similar things going on in Singapore. This is, students are integral to providing research for startups, but also startups engaging with those proven students to be early employees. So it really creates a system of innovation that's virtuous. Students are engaged early. That promotes startups and companies to grow locally. Those students are metabolized into those companies, and the students come back to help their fellow students through mentorship, through teaching and other approaches. So this makes a very vibrant climate where the university is in the center of driving a lot of what happens.
Yeah, UT Austin's various activities have big impact. How about NUS, Mr.
Yeah, I
Chen?
totally agree with Greg. I mean, as a university, as an enabler, we produce both technology as well as talents to the ecosystem. But I would just like to add also for our case in particular, because we were the ecosystem builder at the time, and the ecosystem then was fairly nascent, we had to play the role of the connector in that sense. And I thought that was also an important role for the university, because as a university, we are fairly agnostic, neutral. The industry doesn't see us as a competitor, which is why we're able to quickly attract the various stakeholders of the ecosystem together and connect them through a platform. Secondly, at that time, it was a fairly high risk, expensive experiment, I guess. And certainly this is where the university can come in. This is our core function, right? Which is to experiment, to try out something to see whether it works before the industry takes over. So I think that's also one of the reason or factor why a university will be ideal for ecosystem building. Yeah.
So Dr. Pog, what made it possible for Austin to create lasting large corporations like Dell in the past? Is there any supportive culture?
I think it's really a key piece is that, you can't really replicate a Michael Dell. He's fairly unique and continues to be one of the most respected and leading, CEOs in the world. But for Michael to be successful, he had people who mentored him and supported him and connected him to funding and talent that was really necessary to grow local, because in the early 80s, Austin was not the place it is today. So he created and was open to these relationships. Austin then grew with Dell, which is really important. This allowed us to be a place of connectivity to the West Coast, especially with the quote nerdbird flights, where innovators in computer science would fly to Austin and people from Austin would fly to the West Coast. This allowed entrepreneurs, talent, and funders to get used to Austin. And they realized, hey, I can be here. Hey, I can work here. Hey, I can live here. And that transformed the fact that Austin was no longer a cowboy community, but a really cool cowboy community that people would want to live and innovate in. So that drew in a lot of talent. But Michael also, in many of the early startups, like John Mackey's work with Whole Foods and other groups, grew up their own talent because smart people were there. And those smart people benefited from some of the exits, and they put their money back into new innovators. So this idea of reinvestment in time and money to help startups start in Austin was really, really critical. So this generous culture is really important, and that allowed new companies to form. And we even see this now with a lot of the large tech hubs coming to Austin. Many of their staff work here for a while, and then they want to innovate and start a company here. And they find talent to grow, and they want to invest in it. But even while they're just employees, they give their time to help nascent startups, which is really a benefit. And that helps make this an attractive place for funders to want to be and want to invest in what's happening. So it really comes down to bringing the people together, and that really draws in the money, and a lot of that comes from the quality of life that places offer. You need to make it an attractive place to live and comfortable.
So please describe in details of what is a supportive culture. Dr. Pog.
Yeah, so the supportive culture in some of the specific ways I would say is we often talk about from our research 6 M's that you need: makers, management, members, mentors, market, and money. What you have to do is to grow an ecosystem, you have to have innovators, the makers. But around those makers, you have to bring management, people who know how to operationalize and scale enterprises. But to do that, you have to have people to work. Those are the members. So you have to link not only innovators, but people with experienced talent and people who are willing to work in a corporation. That doesn't even build a successful company. That just gets the cogs rolling. You need people who have connectivity. Those are the mentors. They link you to the best ideas, connectors for funding, connectors for market, and they help guide you. Incubators, accelerators often are those starting points, but they can't be the ending point. It has to be a lifelong experience, and you have to breed a culture that wants to pay forward. I will give my time and my effort to help others be successful. So that generosity of spirit needs to be there. And as I mentioned, mentors and management, one of their key goals is to get to market and money. That's how companies grow. And so you have to have insight. Texas benefits from very attractive business conditions and also for the largest cities in America. So there's market here. And that's really interesting for many companies. But moreover, it's a good place to live. So a lot of funders want to come to Austin and spend some of their time, not just in Boulder, not just, on the West Coast or the East Coast, but they'll come and be near the startups. So this gives us the linkage of all those 6 M's through the engagement of our university, existing companies that have scaled, and again, these broader relationships within and without our state. I think it's this that really makes ecosystems tick. There's many ways to get those 6 M's, but without them, the companies scale slowly and often lose in these global battles for market.
Wow, 6 M's are already set. So, wow, it's great environment. So, Mr. Chen-san, how did Singapore succeed in attracting many companies from overseas?
Yeah, again, I totally agree with Greg. I think the 6 M is fairly similar to our case. But I'd just like to add also, I think what is also important is the involvement of the government support. So in our case, I think what attracts companies, whether startup or MNCs, to come to Singapore, I would broadly summarize into 3 key factors. Firstly, Singapore is, I think, number 1 in top Asian locations for regional HQ. Also, what it means is, according to EDB, about 46% of the top 100 global companies actually or set up their regional HQ in Singapore. There are about 37,000 international companies based here, of which there are 7,000 MNCs, 150 international organizations. So what it means is much of the decision makers are actually based out of Singapore, even though the delivery may be in the region. So for companies or startups, this is where you can actually meet many of the decision makers. Secondly, Singapore is also one of the best countries to do business. It has favorable business policies, attractive tax regime. We have 25 free trade agreements with major international trading economies. The most recent is the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. And I think as a startup, for the first 3 years, there's also a very attractive tax system. For first 3 years, it's 100% exempted for the first 100,000 income for the startup. So it's actually quite conducive for founders. Thirdly, we're also the second or one of the top few easiest country to do business. To register a business, you should simply just go online. It takes about 15 minutes, $1 payout capital, and you can register a business. And last but not least, we have an established startup ecosystem here with a strong investment community, both from local as well as overseas. That I think will provide the community with a comprehensive support, which is why it makes this attractive locations for startups. Yeah.
I am so surprised with how fast you can register a company in 50 minutes. So, what kind of support systems have been provided by Block 71?
Yep. Actually, we provide a whole range of support. Again, I'll broadly categorize them into 4 stages. First is to inspire. Second is to help them ideate or to create into a venture. Thirdly is to accelerate, and finally to scale up. So in the inspire phase, rather, essentially this is to help inspire our younger generations. So in our environment, entrepreneurship is not popular among the or in universities in that sense, or in our case, because most students when they graduate, they always aspire to join MNCs, government sectors, investment banking, and so on and so forth. Very few want to join SME, let alone a startup. As a matter of fact, in the early days, entrepreneurship is often looked down upon. People think that you cannot find a job, that's why you end up starting your own business. So we created a hallmark program called the NUS Overseas College. The idea is to inspire the students by attaching them to a startup. So in this particular case, for instance, we actually have a program in Aichi where we attach our students in a startup in Aichi for 6 months. The idea is they will work alongside the founder to experience the whole journey, and in hope that as they return to Singapore, they will be inspired to start their own. At the same time, they bring back a connection from Japan. We have also done a similar reverse program with the Nagoya University, where they send students to Singapore, where we attach them to a Singapore startup in hope that the same exchange can happen between them. So that's inspired program. Second, in the area of ideation is where we try to allow the or interested founders to form teams, right? And this we have a NUS summer program where we bring together interested founders, and we put them through a 2 weeks program. And this is people from around the world. So this is where you can actually meet like-minded individuals from around the world and hopefully work on an idea. And after the 2 weeks program, hopefully we then form a team and start the journey of entrepreneurship. And when those teams are formed, the third phase is where we then put them through a bootcamp, an accelerator program where we try to help them to grow from 0 to 1, to help them to achieve that product market fit so that they can actually lift off onto their journey of their startup, right? And once they gain some degree of traction, this is where we then move to the final stage of scale up, where we try to build or accelerate their growth or expansion into the regional market or international markets. So yeah, those were the 4 areas that we support these startups. Yeah.
Thank you. Very great operation and function. So thank you. Next, Dr. Pog. A2 Innovation Kickstart program has been in operation for last 2 years. What is your impression on the startup ecosystem in Aichi Prefecture? And what are prospects Aichi Prefecture has in building a global startup ecosystem? Mute.
It was a really great opportunity to spend some time in the Aichi Prefecture before the program started to understand the region. We learned in Austin that it really requires the government to provide a conducive environment, and I think the example of Singapore is really well described. In the US, it's more of a bottom-up strategy. You know, we're local to state to national support startups in that way, but still the government's role is key. Business support is absolute. The large companies have to buy into an innovation economy. They often provide market and mentors and maybe even management to these startup companies. And then finally, the university is really key, as we talked about, for innovators and member talent, and sometimes those other types of pieces. It was great to see that things were in place in Aichi. to really link those pieces because of the fact that the governor was taking the initiative, the governor was exercising leadership. This allowed for this contribution to be present and an example to be set for the universities and honestly a sense of gravity to draw in these large companies to be a part. Aichi is full of world-leading companies, but that sometimes drains talent away from startups. It drains innovation to the large companies and not have them present in small companies. And this is a challenge to balance those two pieces. So the A2 program, I think, has been very smart to start with strengthening startups first. By linking these into this training program to find market not only in Japan, but elsewhere, this gives them a chance to scale more rapidly. And by scaling rapidly, their valuation increases and their position and the space they occupy in this very competitive place called Aichi for talent is better. So I think this is a very key piece. I think linking itself to the National University of Singapore is key because this gets linkage to students from that established ecosystem in this transfer back and forth so that students from both sides get experience in new environments and think differently. They think innovatively. So by linking these two pieces together, I think you've really started the thing moving. I feel like the most important things that you can consider doing next really involves how do I get my large companies to cooperate actively with innovation from the university side and from the startup side. They offer tremendous understanding. And so creating themes where you have clusters of innovation that can grow, that market access can happen through open innovation or through spin out and spin in cultures can really help this next step. There's examples of that in many places. You can find in the United States, of course, in Singapore and other places. But I feel like that, again, the full nature of the community has to grow. And again, the benefit of having the governor's leadership is that draws in cooperation in a manner which is often bottom up in the United States. You have to keep on knocking on doors, shaking lots of hands to convince people. But when you have the big boss saying, let's do this thing, it really speeds the process. So I'm excited to see what happens in Aichi in the coming years. And I think A2 has had a strong start, and I think it can have a very big impact in your prefecture.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, very exciting stories about A2 program. How about NUS side? Collaboration with Aichi Prefecture started in 2019. What is your impression on it, Mr. Chen-san?
I think it's been amazing. And this is precisely why we chose Nagoya as our first Block 71 in Japan. The Aichi government has put together a fantastic plan. And with such commitment, we believe that they are building a world-class startup ecosystem. And I will attribute our selection to 3 key areas, right? As what Greg mentioned, which is very important. First of all, is the strong support from the Aichi Prefecture government in building this ecosystem. As what Mori-san mentioned earlier, they are building the Station AI, which is a mega startup hub to support the startup community, right? And this is a huge commitment from the government. And since then, they've also attracted a number of stakeholders to come into the ecosystem, both local as well as international accelerators like us. So this is essential because the government actually play an important influence on the policies to make the whole environment conducive for startups. So having such strong support from the local government is important for the founders. Secondly, as what Greg also touched on, is the business opportunities. So Aichi is an attractive ecosystem because there are a lot of corporates who are based out of Aichi. So in the last couple of years working in Nagoya, we have actually been in touch with the likes of Toyota, Denso, Nagoya Port Authority, NTT, Docomo, and so on. And we have been working with them on a number of initiatives to connect with the community. And what we were quite impressed is their strong desire to work with startup. both in terms of looking for innovation as well as to co-create innovations with the community. And then some of them even invest in some of the startups. So that I think is encouraging to see, having the strong demand drivers in the ecosystem. Last but not least is, again, what Greg mentioned, the importance of the university. So again, Nagoya and Aichi is home to many famous universities like Nagoya University. So we have since been working very closely with Nagoya University, trying to, they provide both technology as well as talent into the ecosystem, right? And we have actually been working with them, like I mentioned earlier, on the NOC program, where we have this exchange to allow this exchange of talents between Singapore or Southeast Asia and Japan. And with all that together, this is why we believe that the Aichi ecosystem will be a very interesting ecosystem for the startups.
Thank you. Thank you for your prospects. So we need to wrap up our session now. Dr. Pog, Mr. Chen-san, Mr. Mori, thank you very much for sharing your time with us today. Thank you everyone for listening to our stories. Hope you were able to learn about the role of university-based incubators' impact on creating successful startup ecosystems. Please be in touch with the further progress of startup ecosystem in Aichi Prefecture, Japan. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Welcome more.
Let's take a look at selected startups from Aichi Prefecture.
Hi everyone, my name is Masaki Niwa, CEO of Grand Green. Grand Green is an agri-biotech startup from Japan. One of our technology focuses is on grafting. So what is grafting? Grafting is a method to combine two plants into one seedling. By grafting, we can use strong roots to grow vegetables to prevent diseases or enhance water and nutrition absorption to increase the yield. Grafting is such a beneficial technique that the vegetable grafted seedling market reaches $7 billion worldwide, and it's growing at over 10% annually. But there is a limitation. A large number of grafted seedlings are still made by hand. The shortage of skilled workers and rising labor costs are problematic in many seedling nurseries. Because of those problems, there have been trials to make the grafting process automated, and several grafting machines are actually in the market. But these grafting machines are too expensive, and the success rates are below the level required in many seedling nurseries because mechanical moves cannot handle well the vegetable seedlings, which are not uniform in size and shape. To make the grafting process less laborsome and make it easier to handle by machines, we have invented grafting cassette. Let me show you how it works. In manual grafting using grafting cassette, you only need to put seedlings into the cassette, fix them with inserts, and then cut and exchange the top heads. That's it. No special skills nor worries about variation in stem thickness are needed. And this mechanical process with grafting cassette makes it possible to handle seedlings with simple, cheaper machines. We are now prototyping the grafting machine operating with grafting cassette. Grafting with our grafting cassette is a much faster, highly successful, and stable solution for better agricultural practice. And automated grafting will be possible soon. We are operating several different businesses and R&D programs in the seed and seedling field. Other than grafting cassette, we create new crops and vegetables using gene editing and other privileged technologies. For more stories, visit our website and contact us. That's all my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Hi everyone, I'm Kanji, founder of Sonoligo. We are focusing on culture with a vision of culture development. Why did I start Sonoligo? When I was a graduate student, I studied abroad in Munich, Germany, and I was really surprised at the culture scene. At concert, 500 seats were full despite Wednesday. At football stadium, there were 60,000 audiences. In weekends, the museum was full with family and men and women of all ages. And I found out that culture is really, really important. That's why I started Sonoligo. We provide subscription services which enable users to join any kind of event unlimitedly. The operation is very simple. Such events and reserve easily and show ticket. Our main plan is Premier Plan. We already collaborate with many event organizers, including sports gym, orchestra, museums. Online event is also supported. This is our benefit. The percentage that the person who used Sonoligo participated in the event for the first time is around 70%. And percentage of participants in the events because they were able to make a reservation at Sonoligo is around 90%. Sonoligo provides the opportunities to experience new culture and create new demand for attending events. The spread of Sonoligo will lead to the development of culture. And this is call to action. We want to collaborate those who are conducting online events, like online concerts, online workshops, online seminars. Let's collaborate with us and meet new customers. We will be at online exhibition. Please search us with our company name Sonoligo. And we are in connection and culture. And if you get interested in us, please send a message. I'm really looking forward to meeting great partners who have a passion for culture. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Takahiro Ikedara, CEO at PyPhotonix Incorporated. Today I would like to talk about HoloLight, which is unique LED lighting. This HoloLight or pattern forming LED lighting patented in Japan, USA, Europe, and China. This light can be expanded image of LED emitter like sunbeam. It is very high visibility. Second is some of the optics changes to the lighting pattern as line and ring and arch and arrow. HoloLight has a lot of application. One is for entertainment application. Other one is the safety application in focus now. This is the new installation with the Japanese artist. Here you can see the waterfall with the 100 HoloLight as sunbeam. You can looking for the sponsor to go to the Milano Salon in next year. Next is the night wave project in Japan. In that case, we light up the wave on the ocean using blue HoloLight lines. You can see the blue wave at the night beach. We would like to create new culture in the night beach. You can find a movie in the YouTube, enter the night wave. This is Hamamatsu station named Arigato Light Up. Arigato means thank you with the heart and rainbow for peace. The lighting distance is about 30 meters, but it is very high brightness than using laser projector. Okay, next I would like to show you the safety application. It's snowing now. You can't see the white line anymore, but HoloLight makes the strong green line on the side road. The driver can drive safely. Now we found a good application in factory. In 2015, one steel maker needs safety light under the crane. HoloLight lines indicate square shape using 4 units. Next, HoloLight rings makes round shape under the crane with only 1 unit. Next, I invented this rainbow light using spectroscopy with white LED in the 2014. One user told me this light is used for safety application of the forklift. Now many users of forklift is installed the HoloLight Arch Mini. This is HoloLight Arch Mini by it Arigato. So most of popular applications are for the forklift. Finally, now we try to challenge new project. We open Horizon Bar with Rainbow. The concept is the fusion of light and music and liquor with human. Okay, this is our call to action. We are now trying to introduce HoloLight overseas. So we would like to collaborate with the distributor and the potential user and anyone who has interest in the HoloLight. Welcome to visit HoloLight booth. Please contact us through email or web page. We are excited to collaborate with you soon. Thank you very much for listening. Good Rainbow with you. See you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ryuichi Onose. I'm CEO and co-founder of Crife. Today, we would like to introduce our company product, which is urine liquid biopsy for early detection of cancer. So our vision is to democratize cancer care, and we want to accomplish this by providing cancer screening at home very easily and cheaply. So our product is collecting 1 milliliter of urine and detecting pan-cancer with high specificity and sensitivity. So our technology, we use exosomes as a biomarker. Exosomes are key communication tools of cell-to-cell crosstalk. It is closely linked to the outbreak and development of diseases, including cancer. So many researchers and companies are trying to develop using exosome as a biomarker, but the bottleneck here is extraction. It is very hard to extract exosomes. And we have the breakthrough technology for this. Our zinc oxide nanowire device, which is a microfluidic device with zinc oxide nanowire embedded in the chamber, can capture exosomes very comprehensively by electrostatic interactions from body fluids. This is the actual spec of our device. The conventional method is ultracentrifugation, which can capture exosomes of about 15 to 25% using urine or blood as a sample. But we can capture 99% of urinary exosomes. So we are the first and still the only company to be able to comprehensively analyze exosome profile. And using this technology, we developed machine learning algorithm detecting early lung cancer. So the sensitivity is 97% and specificity is 98%. And we now have algorithm for 15 type of cancer. And we've been able to detect early stage, even early stage with very high accuracy for all type of cancers. But our product is an exosome trapping platform, which means that we can use it for other objectives, such as biomarker R&D. So we are working with a few pharma companies to support their drug discovery by stratifying patients. And this is not limited to oncology. So for example, we are doing immunology and other TA as well. So if you are interested in collaborating with us for early cancer detection, especially hospitals, any joint collaboration research, we are more than happy to work together. And also pharma companies and maybe other like food companies that are interested in biomarker R&D, please feel free to contact this email. Thank you for listening.
Hello, we are Fiber Clays, and I am Shunya Chosukabe. We are making high-functional fabric using fiber processing technology. There have been a lot of people suffer from infectious diseases from animals. These diseases are mainly caused by mosquito, that is the world's deadliest animal in the world. Hundreds of millions of people suffer from dengue fever and malaria, and over 700,000 people die every year. Many measurements such as developing chemical reagents and products have been implemented, but there is no critical solution in the world. We have an effective solution to this problem. Our patented technology called Glazing can make some micropores in fiber and impregnate regions in the pores. With using the technology, we created fiber that have the mosquito repellent property We created a prototype of the mosquito repellent fabric and tested, followed by Japanese industrial standard to prove the mosquito repellent's effectiveness. As shown in the graph, all three processed samples have mosquito repellent property compared to control. We have three main competitive advantages. First, we can impregnate 4 times as more regions as other competitive technologies, so it can improve the durability of the effectiveness. Second, it can impregnate various regions after making fiber with the pores, while other technology cannot. Third, we can control the release amount by changing the size of the pores. Global market values $360 million, and the compound annual growth rate is 10%. This market continues growing. Besides from mosquito repellent property, many kinds of regions can be impregnated in fiber. For example, antibacterial or virus, number 2, and anti-aging, number 3. These are the samples in detail. We are composed of 4 members. 3 of us specialize in polymer chemistry, and another one major in computer system. Professor in Gifu University helps our development. Finally, we are participating in the Creative Industries exhibition of South by Southwest online. You can search our booth with the name Fiberglaze. Our technology and products will be displayed there until Saturday, 20th. You are very welcome to visit our booth and discuss for future development. Thank you very much.